So you're ready to leave the city. You want more space, or you're ready to stop dealing with the hustle and bustle and the noise and the construction. Whatever one of about a million possible reasons you have for wanting to leave, what you want is a nice suburb to move to. You don't know all the possible neighborhoods out there, but you know you want something that's affordable, something that's safe, something that's peaceful, and good value for your dollar at the end of the day. And in this video, I want to talk about 3 neighborhoods that unfortunately we've seen people move to, but not find what they're looking for. But they are very popular for people who are looking to move out of the city. So I wanted to put them on your radar as places to potentially give a little bit more thought to, if not avoid altogether. So without further ado, let's jump right into the first neighborhood, which is the Durham Edge, specifically being Oshawa. In Oshawa, a lot of people try to escape Toronto to find more affordable housing and cost of living. The problem is the property tax in Toronto is actually less than what it is in Oshawa. The property tax in Toronto hovers around on average 0.75% of the property's value, whereas in Oshawa, it's closer to over 1.5%. So just to give you an example, on a $1 million home valuation, the tax would be somewhere around $7,500 in Toronto, where it would be about $15,500 in Oshawa. Just $7,500 a year for the same property value. And a lot of people we talk to don't even necessarily know that. Another thing to keep in mind here is that because the city of Toronto is more established and collects more property taxes and has more residents in it, it's less volatile and less prone to big hikes in property tax. But last year alone, Oshawa raised property taxes by 7.87%, and that's just in 1 year. So imagine if that happens every year for 5 years. You're looking at dramatic, insane increases in your property tax. Another thing we want to point out is the commute. So if you take the 401, you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy, and you're going to be spending a lot of time there, not moving, but in traffic. If you take the GO train, it's about 60 minutes from Oshawa to Union Station. That's before parking, getting there in the first place, and then obviously getting to your office from Union Station. So if you combine all of that, it's well over 2 hours of your day just commuting. Unfortunately, another thing that's happening in Oshawa is since so many people have been going there, the infrastructure hasn't been keeping up in terms of schools, healthcare, daycare, stuff like that. There's a lot of people coming, and it's putting a big strain on schools and hospitals, and because of the infrastructure not keeping up, they constantly have to raise property taxes, and all these things tie into one another, giving them a few things that make it difficult to build your life there and make it a little bit tricky to adapt to the lifestyle. So all in all, this is not to knock Durham region entirely, but just to say that given the high property tax, the stagnation in infrastructure, and the commute time, especially from Oshawa, I don't know if I'd recommend it as the #1 suburb to move to. Prices are lower there, but also usually where prices are lower, there's got to be a reason. The second place that we see a lot of people who lived in the downtown core move to afterwards is VMC, Vaughan Metropolitan Center, at Highway 7 and Jane Street in Vaughan. There's also a lot of people moving there as well. So there's expected to be about 25,000 residents just between those buildings right at VMC, which basically turns into a hyper-dense situation at that point. You wanted to escape the downtown lifestyle, maybe to get out of all of the urban sprawl and extreme population density, but the place that you move to has the same issue, if not potentially even worse. Yes, it's nice that it's a master planned community, but at the same time, everything is so brand new that between the construction and even the retail that does come in, it's kind of lacking its own history and character. And it's a far cry from anywhere downtown that's really established that you can go on a nice scenic walk, go to a cafe, go to a little bookstore, something that's been there for a long time and is a landmark or a staple of the place. Well, here it's going to be kind of mega corporations that can even afford to rent out these brand new commercial spaces, and they're probably putting in things like dental offices or physiotherapy clinics, nail salons, stuff more of that nature. It's not going to have the character and uniqueness of the lifestyle that maybe you might stay yearning for if you're used to it back in the city. Another huge thing to mention here is the traffic. If you've been on Jane Street or Highway 7 near the intersection, especially at busy hours, God forbid rush hour, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. It's beyond brutal. You're going to be spending a lot of time in your day just sitting bumper to bumper. And another point with a lot of people moving into that neighborhood, you know, it is good from an investment perspective, obviously, to invest where there's a lot of development going on and a lot of towers are coming up. But at the same time, a lot of towers are going up and a lot of people are closing on units. And if you try to sell yours, well, there's a lot of competition. They might be selling theirs too at a similar time. We find that if you're willing to have a longer time horizon, for example, 10 plus years, then these places make fabulous investments because of all of the development happening around it. But if your time horizon is any shorter and you're looking at it from the financial or investment perspective and you want to capitalize within 5 years or so, well, look what's happening now. We see that people who bought 5 years ago pre-construction, just like downtown, are not making their money back. If anything, they're having to walk away from significant portions of their deposit. So the combination of being way too new, way too dense, and still a pretty long commute out of downtown puts it on our radar as something that might not be the number one thing that you want to move to, especially if you're dreaming of a house and a backyard and stuff like that. There are neighborhoods with far better value for you if you want to do that. And the number 3 place that I'll mention in this video, it actually is a part of Toronto, but because it's more affordable, a lot of people are going there from the downtown core and a lot of investors are going there as well. And that's Scarborough, but to be specific, the Eglinton Kennedy corridor, where so many people over the past 15 years have been going there specifically because the Eglinton LRT is coming. And it began in 2011. Now it's October 2025 and there's still no actual date for when that LRT is going to become available. Also, because there's so much construction, it crushes a lot of the amenities that would normally be there. So where you would usually have cafes and grocery stores, right now it's just under construction and development. Because of all of that, a similar problem is happening to what happened in Vaughan, where a lot of people invest their money because there's a lot of growth and opportunity and things coming up. But if those things never happen and they stagnate, then your timeline on when you're going to capitalize on that investment just gets longer and longer and longer. And the people who did invest there get more and more and more frustrated as time goes on. And because so many people invested hoping that there's going to be a price boom when the Eglinton LRT opens up, then until the day that that actually happens, then you're kind of stuck holding the bag. And the last thing is that because it's in a transitionary period, what happens is that most of the people who buy in are investors. And that means that they're renting it out. They're not moving in themselves. And we both know that if you live in a home that you don't actually own, that you're not going to take care of it the same way. Those are the 3 places that we really wanted to put on your radar today. What we really recommend if you're in the city and you're looking to get out of it is take your time and do some nice research on the pros and cons of each different suburb and neighborhood, because different people in different situations are going to be looking for very different things. I did want to also mention, if you want us to make a video on the best neighborhoods to move to and not just the best ones to avoid, definitely let us know in the comments as well. And let me know in general your thoughts. Agree, disagree? Do you think these are good or bad neighborhoods to move to? And are there any others that should be on people's radars? The more feedback that you give, the more you might be able to help somebody who's considering a move out of the city. And your opinion might be the one that makes a difference for them and makes their family's life better or worse, but I hope better. And in any case, if you got value from this video, I'm so glad. We'll see you next week and take care in the meantime.